Hello, welcome to 1.2 day 1 and day 2. We did the same thing for both days. So we are going to be classifying real numbers. First, we're going to classify the given number and then we're going to place them on the chart. Here's your vocab for today. So these are going to be very important to remember as we organize our real numbers. So whole numbers are basic counting numbers. They are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Goes on and on forever. They're all whole numbers that you can count. Integers are a set of whole numbers and they're opposites. So these only include negative whole numbers. There's no negative 0, so we don't have a negative 0. So they're all negatives, but they're negative whole numbers. Negative 5, and so on. Rational numbers are anything that can be made into a fraction or a decimal, but it has to be a repeating or terminating decimal. So you can have 1/2. You can have 0.25. You can have 0.6 repeating. You can have 0.3 repeating. 1/7. Negative 2.54. Negative 8.6. You could also have negative 0.3 repeating. So this section is for positive and negative fractions and decimals that either repeat or they stop. Irrational numbers are our special category. These are for numbers that can't be written as a fraction and they don't stop and they don't repeat. So the best example is pi. And pretty much the square root of any number that is not a perfect square. So the square root of 3, square root of 27, square root of 6. Any number, basically if you see a square root and it's not a perfect number, it's most likely an irrational number. All right, so remember these today as we go on to organize them. So now here's my example. Let's see. So I got to take these numbers and put them where I think they go. So let me get my pointer. All right, I'm going to start with the easiest one. I see 0.75. That's a decimal. It doesn't go on forever, so it's not going to go over here. It stops. I can't put it in whole numbers because it's a decimal. I can't put it in integers because it's not a negative whole number. So the only last spot it belongs is in rational numbers. Okay, I'm going to tackle this one next. So the square root of 100, you got to solve it first, is the square root of 100 is 10. Is 10. So square root of 10, and it's a negative, oh no, it's not the square root of 10. It is just now 10. Square root of 100 is 10, and it is a negative 10. That 10 is a whole number, and it's negative. So where could I put that? I can put that. Let's see if I can just grab this whole thing. Yes, I can. It's not a whole number because it has a negative on it. Whole numbers are just for positive whole numbers. Integers is where negative whole numbers belong. So I'll just also I'll move this too. That's where that goes. Okay, now I got the square root of 24. Remember I told you almost any number, when you take the square root of a number that is not a perfect square, it's most likely going to be a irrational number. So we got your Desmos calculator. This is on your Teams page on a tab at the top. So I'm going to type the square root of 24. And I get this big long number. It doesn't repeat. It kind of looks like it stops, but it really doesn't. It keeps going on and on and on forever. It is 4.898979486. So it goes on forever. It doesn't have a pattern. It doesn't go 898989 forever. Some kids see that it repeated twice, but just because it repeats twice doesn't mean it's repeating. It needs to repeat forever. So this one is going to be an irrational number. All right, let's do one more together. Okay, what do we got here? So I see 257. Is that a decimal? No. Is it a negative whole number? No. So that means it goes in the whole number spot. Nice. All right, I like this one. What is the square root of 16? 4. Square root of 16 is 4. Is 4 a decimal or a fraction? No. Is it a negative whole number? No. So that means this is also a whole number. 4 goes with the whole numbers. Okay. Now, let's see. I got 5.45 repeating. So since it's a decimal, I can only deal with these two. Integers and whole numbers do not have decimals in it, so it's either rational or irrational. And remember, irrational is only for decimals that repeat forever and ever and ever and ever, and they never stop. Or they don't repeat. Sorry. They don't repeat forever and ever and ever, and they don't stop. So that means it can't be an irrational number because this is repeating. So that means this goes in the rational number section. And last but not least, I have 18/6, negative 18/6. So let's solve it first. 18 divided by 6 is 3, and it's a negative 3. So negative 3 cannot go in rational or irrational because it's not a fraction or decimal. I know it looks like a fraction right now, but we solved it. It can't be a whole number because there's a negative on it, so it belongs with the integers. And that's it. Let me know if you have any questions.